I prostrate to the Irish religion. Thus
did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was lying on mass of Bodhidharma mountain, invited here together with the great community of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration of the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arihata looked upon the very practice of profound perfection of wisdom and beheld as by practice also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Sharaputra said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arihata has the son of the lineage who wishes to practice immutability profound perfection of wisdom. He said that the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arihata said this to the Venerable Sharaputra. Sharaputra and his son of the lineage or order of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding the five aggregates also empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is form is also another emptiness. In the same way, clearly discrimination, compositional practice, and consciousness Sharaputra like this phenomena are emptiness. Without characteristics, unproduced, unceasing, status, not without state, not deficient, not fulfilled. Sharaputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no constitutional practice, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no odor, no taste, no optic touch, and no phenomena. There is no element, solid, including no mind elements, and no mental consciousness element. There is also no recurrence, no intention, up to no including no action of the habit, and no position of the habit. Similarly, there is no separate origin, sensation, or mind. There is no self-wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Sharaputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, there suffers from mind, perfection of wisdom. The mind is abstraction without fear. Having completely passed beyond prayer, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the words of God and the three times also manifested completely awakening to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known for truth, since it is not false, the mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Then the Bhagavan rose in that concentration, and met them by Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arihata saying, God said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. Once you practice the profound perfection of wisdom and justice is vindicated, even the Bhagavan is rejoiced. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharaputra as surrounded with the tribe, along with the world of gods, humans, assurers, and gods, Dharajos, and highly praised and expressed.
I, as all surrounded
go for refuge to the Buddha, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Dharma, because the great, great Dharma, all wisdom and life,
provide acceptance of the Bodhisattvas
in the 10 directions, advocating my prostration to all of you, my little brother to treat the excellence.
in the past, speaking in dress, as well as ours, by reflecting on the profound meaning of the wisdom of beyond, and reciting the profound words of daily recitation.
In that same way, I also reflect on the profound meaning of the great love of Atisha,
and recite the profound words of daily recitation. May all the saints, spirits, actions, and conditions, all living directions, that which happens to the highest karma and immediate conditions, may all this be established. May all come to existence, may all be happy. I prostrate together.
By power of clairvoyance and mental relations, look after the practitioners like a mother or child. I take my last
By the teachings of the
three rules, possess the power of truth, meditate down consciousness to be transformed.
May all
precious and perfect happiness here and forever.
So, as we did yesterday, we're going to generate the proper motivation, correct motivation, and recite the prayer of refuge and Bodhisattva 3 times together. So there are many different types of community. So, as a Dharma center is a special kind of community in which people gather deliberately to engage in virtuous, positive practices and conduct, and that because in this type of communities, what is practiced is the only Dharma, then in this context, if our motivation is not spoiled, then we can engage in a great deal of positive activities. So, with regard to this motivation that we have to cultivate, we should think about the drawbacks of having a motivation that is not imbued with the vast attitude of Bodhisattva, and the benefits of having a motivation which is endowed with this altruistic attitude of Bodhisattva. Then if we think about this in the context of our individual lives, if we say, well, we have to have a motivation endowed with the altruistic attitude of bodhicitta, or we have to think about this and that, and we have to have a pure motivation for whatever we do in life, in some cases, when it comes to our individual lives, one might feel it is not impossible, that one might feel this has nothing to do with me. But this is not impossible because continuously throughout all our life, we are so habituated to consider me, myself, as so extremely precious, and we continuously try to dispel the different hardships that we face in our lives. You know, we're always continuously concerned with my work, my life, my problems. And so I think that the fact that we even came all the way to here is not because we thought it was fun, but most probably because we found some hardships in our life that we want to deal with. So, if on the other hand you have more tendency throughout your whole life to think about others, think about other sentient beings, not just yourself, and if you feel that is a great loss, or if you see the drawbacks of having a motivation that is not conjoined with such an altruistic attitude, and if you can recognize that this attitude of satisfying only myself is poisonous, and that altruistic attitude is like medicine or like nectar, then throughout all your life you will be able to lead your life with an altruistic attitude, being really able to make a distinction between what is useful, poisonous, or what is useful, like nectar-like, and what is poisonous. So because this mindset of altruism is extremely precious and extremely rich, if we do everything with this kind of attitude, even reciting one word, or making one prayer, or engaging in a small virtuous action, all this will bring great benefits in the future.
아니지 dia 그런데 다 마치야지다 되게 공 쓰지 말레스 이나야 리조사와 최메신이지야 상대들이 용 시베지 인도 아니 소소 오늘 최저에디 따진 거인데 소소이게 섬는다 아니 네가다 타두라니 베텐 데바토야지 랑지 아니 선물로라 오늘 전에 근데 코나인 거지 아니 뭐시베 아니지 그래서는 무슨 도대이나 샤루 지루 아니 내가 줘봐 제루 아니 내가지 통제당 뭐시비 아니지 마치바 이나 양 삼제 데스데자 용식을 했으랍니다 대인주 아니 주도 뭐네 그래서는 제가 뭐저 내 편이나 아주도 주도 대화사 다른 거리 아니지 다지 공화서 탑자지 계셔야라 지 제가 또 저러들이 때 추종원에 찍어서 마도 가니레스. 네 예술자 배샷인데요, 말레스. 네 원에 르르 땅고래 디상 자블링나라 추다. 아니지 신다 내가로 다만다 로송마다와나 지 들어가서 저저데 대사 로사 예사 사서 통사상마 아니지 르르 땅고 인자는 코나방은 이나 원에 디제 르르 땅야 치더라 디제 인자 아니 제나바 소이면 이나 수수이게 아니지 추조라 신대비 제발 나바지 되와이나 아니지 소소이게 제가 같이 또 와이나 디고 야호를 되레스 아 신대 많이 버서지 남주 때문에 제가 또 저래나 니 제가 또 요거 나한테 내가 나와지지 뉴야서라다 아니지 다 뉴다다 고 자가 나와지지 뉴니여레 아니 저래네 뉴니여레 야 지금 때마다 쓰는 뉴니여레 지금 가지라서 무슨 가리나 제가 양 가시 양 찾아서 뉴니여레 양 가시 지 계셔대대서 뭐가 인상 난 뒤질라대서 피토 지 피토에 탑시저지 자네 뉴니여레 하자마자 용식 때다 디르레스 이난 그런 거네 지다서 제가 또 선물 봐 오늘 전에 수수이게 주소는 신대 그냥 전제서다 아 여보래 전제서지 난 수수 지와이나 되니 다 배샤 많이 가지려나 대양 개발 들어와 이 인자는 지 디과도에 총산에 앉아야 돼 계시면 개발도에 총산에 쌓아야 돼 계시면 쉬우지 임바다로
So here we are gathered here in this Dharma center, and whether you're a staff member working here or volunteer here or just a visitor, I think for me it's very difficult to know what is your character. Someone like me, an ordinary person, cannot really know immediately what kind of motivational, what kind of character you have. But as for me, I'm just an ordinary person, so I'm here to give a talk. So if I'm not careful to cultivate a pure positive motivation, I might be coming, just with the intention of gathering many people, or making money. Maybe that could be the motivation for either giving the talk or those who are preparing the event and things like this. So it is not impossible that anyone who's involved might have a mixed motivation with these kind of intentions, negative intentions. So if it is the case, because it is absolutely not impossible to have a mixed motivation, then everything we do associated with such a negative motivation, then whatever result this action will give rise to, whether it is big or small, it will be necessarily in the nature of kind of poison-like nature. And so I think that of course most of us here don't have such a negative motivation, but it's not impossible that some new people who do not know the Dharma well might have these kind of ideas. So I think the first thing to do is to try to recognize how precious the Dharma is, and how it is the actual cause for finding stable happiness, for finding temporary happiness and fearless ultimate happiness, and that the Dharma is only the source of benefits and happiness for all sentient beings. So it is good to recognize that. And then through this recognition, then even with the way we will consider the representations of the holy body, speech, and mind of the Buddhas, the way we set them up, the way we present them, the way we make offerings to them and worship them, all of this will be affected by our first recognition of the Dharma as precious. If we do not have this recognition from the beginning, then we might not, value and treat those holy objects, for example, properly. So all of you who came here, many of you came from far away, and you're usually quite busy with your lives and your work, etc. And here the person who's giving the talk, myself, is quite an ordinary person. And so for this talk, I think there are some tickets that are sold to attend the talk. So to make things clear, this ticket, this money that you're paying, this is really for the sake of the Dharma Center, to cover the expenses of the Dharma Center. And nothing comes to me, and so we have to understand in nowadays this modern context that for everything we have to pay. So the Dharma Center has to, pay for so many things. Otherwise, it's just impossible to have such an event. So, for the food and the accommodation and the traveling expenses, all is covered by the Dharma Center. So there's a lot of expenses. So from your side, if when you pay the ticket, you feel I am giving a donation to the Dharma Center for the sake of the prosperity of the Dharma Center and for the activities to flourish in the Dharma Center, then it is better to think of this way. Otherwise, if you just feel that you're buying a ticket, like you're buying a ticket for a show or something, like ordinary, worldly activity, just for something fun or to see a show, or maybe some people might feel they come here with the idea of checking the speaker out, or maybe they feel a little bit uneasy, but they don't really know why they're here. Some people might come out of curiosity. Some people might come because they have heard some words that they feel beneficial, and they are really going to try to put these useful tools into practice. So there could be many different types of reasons that brought you here, but the actual motivation for coming here should be other, and you should not think that you're just paying a ticket to step in, but it's good to think that you're making a donation for the sake of the Dharma Center. So in this way, this action of giving the money will become virtuous. And I think it's important to pay attention to even the smallest negative actions, and try to refrain from the smallest negative action, and to try to accumulate virtue even with the smallest action. So let's recite the prayer of refuge and Bodhisattva Atisha.
Thank you.
So, I didn't know running chair here. Keep going with her. Oh, Shirada. Shirada, running chair.
So today seems that it's the same topic as yesterday. I was told we have to continue speaking about compassionate wisdom. So whether we can do that or not, we are very fortunate anyways, right? So basically all of you are kind of new Buddhist, beginners of Buddhist. You're not Buddhist from your parents, right? So as for me, I'm supposedly a Buddhist from my parents. But I don't know Buddhism well. It's not easy to know Buddhism actually. One day in Europe, I asked a Westerner. I said, "You're a Buddhist, isn't it?" He said, "Yes, I'm a Buddhist, and I've been a Buddhist for 20 years." So then I asked him what were the three jewels, and he said, "Well, it's the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha." And then I said, "Oh, do you think that the Buddha is like these statues of Shakyamuni Buddha that we can find, for example, in India, or the pictures that we can see, and the Dharma, is it all these texts that we can see, and this." Say, is it the statue? The Buddha is the statue that we can see in Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha found enlightenment. And then the Dharma would be all those texts that we can find. And the Sangha, what is the Sangha? Is it those people who shake their heads and wear yellow or red robes? Is this what the three jewels are? He said, "Yes, of course." So I asked him, how is he benefited from these three jewels? How do they protect him? How can he even trust them? How can he have this conviction that it's okay to entrust himself totally to them and offer his body, speech, and mind? And how would these three jewels be related to him? I don't know how they connect to me, how they're related to me.
아니처럼 나머지는 너 27 살아래. 그랬어.
So has it really been 20 years since you became? He said yes.
너 27년 맞지? 너무 자주 못 들이. 나는 와, 와보시잖아. 와, 20년 더 자이세.
He said not only have I been a Buddhist for 20 years, but I've met many precious lamas and I've taken like maybe 20 or 30 empowerments. So then I thought that was really weird, but obviously everyone does their thing, right? So everyone feels the way they feel.
제가 대점들 아니 군주선 제 증인지 지와이나 대점들 라는지 아니 산진저의 간디스 상경은 간디스 제에 아니 겐디 군주저의 간디스 차이 아니 최군주 간디스 차이 간디스 디 아니 소소 상당으로 와서 나가지.
So I told him.
아니지 자 Tama Pozorama, Mazola Tibon, de Mares, Tenizo Chavos, de Mares. That thing as a Tibon go to the never zoning the church the doors. Any church the DJ, only can't stew me, as a better than never to Jadina, any but never Zaraji, never to Jadina, and Sanjay, Lamadi, and Chicago, never keep us right out. Any 디 멤버 개발이 최대 아니 멤버디 메인데서라 아니 개들군주대 아니 멤버디 다 가져로디 네바디 네요치니 나스라이도 디저지 성은 땅와이나 딘디 따라야지 응그려 와서 딘디 저러지 다 디베 와서 아니 데인자네 라마 따치버레 라마 따치버레 저 라마데 최대니 와서 다 맞은 뭐 두순 매워져데마 매워져닌디 무슨 말 주가 주화로년디 추군주 와서 추군주 고땡 다데니 맞아 카미 야다 체스시네 아니 겐디군주 라발라니네가니 겐디군주 슬라이드 레로 레기면 와서 베라지나 오지지지 아니 남자 제와 잠이래 말에 제당 도바 탐지네 프로바 저야디 독자 쉬우지 통하네 아니 이제 니모 도순지 제만도라 안드로네 아니 이제 가져라다 동행 당도라는 거야. 이제 디 동행 통에 아니지 님이 통에 디다 아니지 동벌체 아니 탐지스 아니지 가져다지 산지리 추랑 지하에 콤벌 제네 아니 동바다 탐지네 에 대체로 왔다 동바다 탐지네냐 내로 지 가져 코로 빵 차를 해서라는 사이 당근에 당지 말고 다음에 가서 랑긴지니 매바 마시나 깔래 공쇼리가 지나시 뭐야 대니 인자네 딘제지 당지 말고 오늘 전에 가서 지금 나 매바 시송와이나 아니지 가서다 사담모 토로로 왔어 어머니 무슨 나도 송와이나 니 개디군요 거기 개디군요 너희 개디군요 차고 왔어 디 인산이 한다 개비군주 저디다 제이 개비군주 개비군주 딘지 개노 넘버 10나 아니 개비군주 직송 천두야지 딘지지 다침부지다 여러분 그래서 정말 체네 아니지 제와 있는 야우슈도 왔어
So I told him, well, if you recognize only this to be the three jewels, then it's very difficult, this way of identifying or recognizing the three jewels. It's very difficult to base this on to engage in Dharma practice. So I asked him, then it's very difficult also to answer the question, then what is enlightenment? What is achieved in enlightenment? What is purified in enlightenment? How can you think of the Sangha jewel? How can this and that become the Dharma jewel? So I think it's important to reflect about this and think about this. That's what I told him anyways. And I explained that the Buddha would be this person that shows us the refuge, the actual protection, by showing us to how to refrain from negativity and how to engage in virtuous conduct, telling us this is that and this is that, helping us to discriminate between those two, virtue and non-virtue. And then the Dharma is the actual transformation. The word Dharma itself is better. Shu means the cure or the transformation, to correct oneself. So, like we patient with a very terrible disease, and so the Buddha would be like this very skilled doctor, showing, finding out what remedy is to be applied and showing what treatment should be done. And then the Dharma is the actual medicine that is to be taken. And the Sangha would be like these different nurses taking care of the patient. So then if we understand the three jewels in this way, then it makes it more easy to understand. We kind of feel that we can take refuge in them. So but this of course is merely an example. So when we also follow a very precious teacher, then he also becomes this person who shows us the Dharma, who helps us get rid of the three poisonous delusions, and who helps us undergo this transformation. And the transformation, the mental transformation itself, is the Dharma jewel. Actually, we refer here to the true cessation, which is the actual Dharma jewel. And then the Sangha are those people towards which we could look up to them, find inspiration in their actions. So mostly here we refer to the Arya Sangha, the practitioners on the path of training. So it's easier to think like this than to think of only those people who have shaved heads and wear red robes. Although of course it is not easy to be an ordained Sangha member. It's not just about shaving one's head. There are many vows and many samayas that are taken, and this step of getting ordained is taken by seeing how negative, how suffering samsara is, and by seeing the drawbacks of the three poisonous delusions, seeing that this samsaric psychic existence is like poison. So this step is done by recognizing suffering as being suffering and seeing its drawback. One starts refraining from suffering and its cause. So we take ordination by making oneself free of all other works or ordinary and samsaric works. So we have time to only engage in the Buddha Dharma, the Dharma practice. And for this we take on vows and samayas, etc. Still, this is not enough to abandon samsara. It's not because we really take ordination or take vows that we have abandoned samsara. We still have to abandon the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. As long as we have not abandoned those two, the self-grasping ignorance and the self-cherishing attitude, then we will not have abandoned samsara. So, actually when we start directly tackling the self-grasping ignorance, then we have the first bhumi and the first bodhisattva ground. And so it is when we directly see emptiness that we become a Sangha jewel. Although, of course, there is this other understanding of the gathering of four Sangha members of the different types of ordinations, which become the substantial Sangha, the representatives of the Sangha jewel. So I think it is also very good to take refuge by understanding all these points.
제가 가서 간다를 never to they no any member keep the pen any member keep DJ any need motion me ya was the end any me DJ ya ho yo ne DJ de ma che tam jo zero DJ na anga so me di ta sana ni ma so ne di thai go was any me di khang la wa di me ka zo ji ko che la jo de ta ha che la me ji mang jo me ji sana ne di ping go was di na ji ma so chue di la ma za chi mo zi de a ma ji su yang jo chue di ma so ji sim ju le zu ja ne nyam le che na ma so nyo tu su ji ne ba za da di ani ni de cha ge des nyo tu su nyo ro de be wa zo ro was di ani ji kam ya da che sa ke di na ma so ta ne ani ke som kon de khandis nan do na di na ji ma so su ji che ne 나 투바이나 아무니 너무 투수니 나자디 아니 닌다파 소베노는 만들지 동에디 아니 걱정 제도 그러was 에 마치바지 라마 상무때 아니 이제 다 주다마다 지주 아니 주에데 냠레 마치바지 아니 데야야 하면도 메네야 하면도 파조데야 하면도 제 데레 제 아니 주에데 시당데야 사과는 이제 사과로 와 있나 거 사과 얘기 가르치나 대가랑 시에자는 엔티 지고요. 다 내가 메시지 콜 컴퓨팅 거야. 대바시고 이시시고 메시지 또 치고요. 요 뭐스. 남배 취에들이 믿어 왔어. 무슨 저다 제가 인장 사과저 딜 상의 양자당 상의양자당으로 화자부 직직이나 단다 자부 화자부 요 인장 가득이나고 상의 야고스당 아니 영화 야고스제 아니 서로 야고스 중화이나 아니 지 삼중 야고스 때 아니 공중 아니 영화 서로 야고스네이나 가만히 때 야고 용도 왔어 디지야디 개치 보이는 거라 맞아 시샤 지당 중당다去중당인데 이와지 맞세나 요거 친구 요새です
So if we are like this patient who is very sick, and we can rely on a doctor that is really like very skilled, a great expert in medicine, who can recognize our sickness and our suffering. And if we are in the hands of very skilled nurses who can give us perfect advice, telling us what to do and what not to do, and if we actually follow their advice and take the medicine as indicated, then we will definitely find the cure to our sickness. So in the same way, when we should rely on a perfect qualified guru, spiritual master, and then listen to the Dharma that he's teaching, and practice this Dharma by applying it to our mental continuum. In this way, we will be able to be cured of our sickness of the three poisonous delusions by slowly, progressively decreasing those three poisonous delusions. And then, as we do so, we are inspired and look up to the Sangha, seeing their perfect example of how they have engaged in studying, contemplating and meditating, and try to do the same as they are doing. And recognize that these three delusions are like our sickness. And when we feel this way, then every day, all the time, we feel that we really want to get rid of them, and we have to refrain from engaging or coming under this way. Otherwise, if we do not do so, well, we might rely on a qualified spiritual master, receive many Dharma teachings, but then we won't practice them properly. We will look around thinking, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe that looks better, or I should do this other thing that looks maybe nicer or better or whatever. And the way we study and understand the Dharma would be just like reading the newspaper. When we read the newspaper, we read it once, and once we have understood what's stated there, we do not need to read it again or think about it again. It's not a matter of generating faith or deeper understanding or need of a particular reflection or practice that is done with regard to what's explained in this newspaper. But the Dharma is not like this. The Dharma has to be continuously taken to mind and reflected and meditated upon, so we cultivate a habit of it. And in this way, every time we think about it, our understanding becomes deeper and deeper. So this is why we have to always think about the Dharma, contemplate about the Dharma. In this way, we will generate personal inner experience, inner feeling about what is explained in those teachings. And then from this understanding and this experience, we cultivate contemplation and reflection on these Dharma that we have understood, and then we will go on meditating on this topic that we have contemplated. And in this way we generate the wisdom generated through meditation. And if we can proceed in this way, it's really excellent. This is the proper way to engage in Dharma practice. So I think it is something very crucial to be able to distinguish between learning and practicing the Dharma and learning about the different other fields of knowledge. Then in terms of the suffering that we are trying to get rid of, so everything that disturbs us, then we are not talking here about one thing or something that has only one aspect. There are so many different types of sufferings, so many different types of conceptual thoughts, so many different types of delusions, attachment, anger, ignorance, etc. So because they are so many things, we need to counteract them, each and every one of them. So because there are so many and have many different aspects, the counteracting factors that we will use will also be very numerous and have many different aspects. So the antidotes that we apply to everything that we want to get rid of has to be precisely efficient for this and that type of delusion, etc. For example, we say that we have to meditate on the ugliness of the body to counteract attachment. But then, because there are many different types of attachment, I think just applying the antidote of meditating on the ugliness of the body for each and every type of attachment just doesn't work. It's not efficient. So it is also very useful to recognize that it is the obscuring ignorance to understand how it works and to see how it pervades all the other types of delusions such as attachment, anger, pride, ill will, jealousy. This obscuring ignorance is the basis and it pervades all these other types of delusions. So when this basic ignorance takes different shapes, different aspects, then it becomes different types of delusions. It becomes attachment, it becomes anger, it becomes jealousy, etc. So in this case, we have to apply the precise antidote, efficient antidote to this and that manifestation of this and that delusion. So we need to know how to go about doing this, what kind of antidote, precise antidote to apply. Just as we can take this example of outer phenomena. When we're hungry, we have to eat food to counteract the fact that we're hungry. And when we're cold, we have to, wear warm clothes. So we should know how to do the same thing for our minds. We should know the different methods to get rid of the different negative aspects of our mind. And this is done always by understanding that causes give rise to concordant results. So just like when we're cold, we have to wear warm clothes. When we have attachment, if we do not know exactly what kind of antidote to apply, if we say we're attached and then we apply the antidote of practicing patience, that would not work, right? Because it's not suited, it's not adapted. So it is good to understand the way things exist or the way things function and see that there are many different manifestations, many different states of mind will appear or get manifest, and all these will bring different kinds of results. So many different kinds of mind will trigger different kinds of effects. Just like a flower will have certain shape or certain colors, and all these shape and colors of the flower all come from concordant causes. So if we want to have this type of flower, let's say with this or that color, let's say we want to have a red and white flower, then we have to put the concordant causes together for this to happen. Otherwise, if we do not put the concordant causes, then this flower, even though we wish it very much to be this way or this color, it will just dry up or it will not grow if we do not put the conditions and causes together. So, with our suffering, it's just the same. With whatever kind of suffering we face, maybe great suffering or smaller types of suffering, we have to adapt to this suffering with something that is completely suited, which is similar, which has a similar aspect to this suffering, so we can get rid of it. It is not just by saying prayers or using something that is not concordant with that suffering that we can get rid of it.
동네에 매봐줘야지. 갑자기 님부디 양추 뭐시 물어왔어. 디 님부 갑자기 뭐시 송아이나 디니 다추 줘야 되고 동네 진이지 매봐줘니지 갑자기 님부 양추 인자는 디라 동아지. 동네 제종인가 로래 유니드나 아니 디라 갑자기 님부 또된 도체나 님부 또된 데라 아니 수수기 주주 콤바데 용거로 왔어. 다 텐데 제 송아이나 딘디 양세 곰 송아이나 곰지 때마이나 딘 수수기 남주도 동네 진이지 로디 아니 친지로디 매봐줘 왔어. 딘디 남주도 친지로 로 독자 지라 야부 진데니 로데 주바타네 고 친지로 로데 친지로 로 임바데 하고르디 데디 시랍데 페르마스 딘디 시랍데 페용되잖아 친지로 로이 에 자와체네 심진라 동에 몸지 마즈베지 납수데 통용되잖아 닌게셰용도 왔어. 딱방에 들어왔을 때